And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bearded Men of Real Estate Show. My name is Ray. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
And that's Dan. And both of us are Bearded Men of Real Estate, which make us ideal hosts for the show called the Bearded Men of Real Estate. So thank you all for joining us again this week. We have a ton of news going on, and most of it is surrounding new construction. But I have something at the very end of the show that I want to talk about, and I need some honest input and feedback from other real estate agents, lenders, title agents, appraisers, people around the country that tend to watch the show and join us in this discussion, because we're going to talk about buyer's remorse. And there's a new survey out that shows that an amazing number of millennials have buyer's remorse right now, higher than ever before. And we are going to talk about that, the realities of it, and also how as agents, maybe we can help out with that. Is there something we could say? Is there something we could do differently? And we're going to look at those pain points that those millennials are experiencing that are giving them the buyer's remorse. Now, if you're thinking about creating content on the internet, this discussion is going to be content gold, because we're going to break down each one of those buyer's remorse categories. And these are pain points that you can create videos, posts. So stay tuned for that at the end. We also want your feedback, but stay tuned for that at the end of the show. If you're watching us live on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment, and then we can display the comment on the show, just like Mario Flores. He's joining us. He says, "What up, Ray and Dan?" D Jones, she's on Facebook. She says, "Hey, Beards." Melissa Mara says, "Nah, this one doesn't, because I bought before it went nuts." So, and Melissa Mara, for those of you who don't know, is a millennial. So she has no buyer's remorse because she bought before the market went nuts. So she's taking advantage of an incredible opportunity to sell your home, Melissa. Why don't you just sell it and make a killing, right? Karina Johnson checking in. She says, "Hola, Karina. Thank you for joining us." So that's how you can interact with us if you're on Facebook or YouTube. If you're joining us on Clubhouse and you want to talk about some of these articles or topics that we cover, just raise your hand and we can add you as a speaker. Matt, our moderator, will put you up there. Then you can flash your mic if you want to hit a specific point. I try to look down and notice that as much as possible, but Matt can also message me kind of behind the scenes. And then I can ask you a question. I'll mute the microphone, and then you can give your 2 cents live. And that's broadcast on YouTube and Facebook all at the same time.
Ray, can I want to go back.
This is all me, Dan. I'm
okay. Well, I know people hate the banter, and they hate, they specifically hate when I talk, but I want to take you back to, and this is totally sidestepping here, but 4 years ago when we started the show, when we started breaking it down, and I'll tell you why we started the show in just a little bit. But do you remember, it was like literally, it wasn't even a webcam. It was just, you had a better camera, but it was still not the setup you have now, because you've gone through about 4 or 5 iterations. But it was literally, and I'm pointing to my computer, not my camera, but it was just whatever camera we could. And we tried YouTube first. We produced it as best we could. Now there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Even just for me, and I do a third of it. I do not much of it, but it's still just so crazy to me. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and thanks for everyone that helps us put this show together. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, there you go. And the Ellis Home Inspections, Patrick Ellis says, "I love the banter." Well,
what he left out was from Ray.
Well, no, if you're watching this on the replay and you don't like either one of our bantering, you can go down to the description, and we always have a list of the articles that we cover and a timestamp. You click that timestamp, you'll zoom right there. But I would encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell. That way you'll be notified of whenever we produce a show like this or when we go live. And also you will receive the chops. So we take each one of our articles, and then we will release those separately, and we call them YouTube chops or shorts, and they get a couple of views here and there. So I think people actually are enjoying the live show a little better. We're having more and more engagement through the YouTubes. So Melissa Mara says she's not selling. She wants to buy another unit and rent it out. Well, then you can experience the buyer's remorse, perhaps.
On your second one. So first one was a great experience. Second one, you're like, oh. Because there's the shortage of things like, oh, wait, I can't tell you. That's an article that's coming up.
Yeah, producer Matt says, "I, for one, prefer Dan's banter." All right, Matt, you're fired.
Well, you also have to deal with Ray's banter quite often.
So. Yeah, he deals with banter that's not banter. So it's
mine is called Danter, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, I'm sorry. We got to.
That was a terrible dad joke. Well, are you? Before we get into all these articles, so we're going to cover about home instruction. We're going to cover home construction.
We are a little bit instruction.
A little bit instruction. Mortgage forbearance. We're going to talk about the builders and what they're experiencing. They have some pain and some pleasure, kind of all happening at the same time. There's experts that say these mortgage rates won't last. We'll talk about why. Lumber prices, all kinds of stuff. But before we get into all that stuff, Dan, would you tell people what this show is actually all about?
I'm going to get you today, dude. I got it. Right. I figured it out. All right. So I would love to, Ray. Thanks for Matt chopping this up, cut out the little banter, but I would love to. What was it, Ray? 39 years ago when we met. Yeah. I could have stopped saying that. That's weird. It's weird. If people put that together, it'll be weird. Anyway, but we met a long time ago here on the interwebs. I had an idea for a show because I am, in fact, a bearded man of real estate. But when I met Ray, I noticed something very interesting about him.
Really? What's that, Daniel?
He hates giraffes. Hates them.
I'm actually a fan of giraffes. I don't hate them, but I think it's the weirdest animal of the bunch. It's weird. It's just a long-necked deer.
A horse. Have you seen the video of the I'll make it even weirder for you. Have you seen the video of the giraffe trying to get on the motorcycle?
No. The whole tongue thing, and they spit. It's just not a good animal.
They spit. I mean, their necks literally grew so they could get to higher trees.
I mean, that's cool, but it's a weird one.
It's a weird one. So how do you feel about platypi?
Is that the
duck-billed
the
beaver
multiple of platypuses?
Yeah, I think so. Platypuses.
Duck-billed platypuses?
Yeah, how do you feel about those?
I think they're interesting.
But giraffes.
I don't like the giraffes because the long neck and the huge tongue.
I have a friend that you wouldn't like either. All right, sorry.
All right, anyway.
But I noticed Ray also had an idea or a format for the show. It's the same format we use today. We've altered it a little bit, but what I also noticed, obviously, he's a lovely bearded man of real estate, but he also loves giving value up front to it, not only his clients, but to humans. So the show's about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
And one of the ways we believe in giving value is by telling people what in the world is happening in real estate so that you just have one place that you have to go. You don't have to do all the research. You don't have to look at all these articles. We're going to cover these articles line by line, go just past the headlines so you have more than the sultry.
I'm still laughing about my friend with the long neck and the tongue.
Yeah, speaking of sultry. So, but if you don't know what's happening in the marketplace, then how can you give good guidance to your customers and clients? So that's kind of the whole purpose of the show. So we thank you guys for joining us.
Well, and one of the things we discovered as we did this show, and Ray and I individually before we met were already this way, read past highlights or headlines and get your own opinion on things. We're already very much that way. But as we started reading through this, we were kind of like, it just became so glaringly obvious that even in real estate, a somewhat boring industry, it's very sensationalistic. And we have a few today that I'm going to, ask questions about. So it's you got to go past the headlines. And if you don't want to do that for yourself, we got you covered here every Wednesday morning.
There you go. Are you ready to get into them?
Yeah, actually it's morning for me. It's 1 p.m. on the cheese toast. But yes.
Lunch for
Yeah, have you guys ever thought about that? Ray sacrifices his lunch for you every week.
Yeah, every week.
He doesn't eat. He fasts on Wednesdays to do this show for you. So everyone right now in the comments say thank you, Ray.
What up, everybody? Thanks again for joining us on Clubhouse. If you want to comment on some of these articles, just raise your hand. It is giving me the red bar, but hopefully I'm on 5G. So, hey, Roy, Joe, Kevin, Mark, Mike. All right, let's go. Mortgage forbearance numbers officially half of 2020's peak.
Nice.
Yeah. Just 2.1 million homeowners remain in some form of mortgage postponement.
Wait, didn't we do this last week? Sorry to interrupt, but didn't we do this last week and it was 4 point something?
It was going down. So now it has been cut in half of what it was.
That's
so
awesome.
Mortgage forbearance dropped by 14 basis points to 4.22%. So that's good. It continues, and whether it's people exiting forbearance that didn't know they were in it. If you missed our our foreburned commercial, we'll post the link. But be sure to look at that, because back when this was happening, people would call and just say, "Hey, what are these rules on forbearance?" And
Boom.
just like that, you're in forbearance. So it could be people exiting that were just taking their money, kind of putting it into the stock market, maybe buying some Bitcoin. That just went down, and or Dogecoin. Who knows?
It did. Yeah.
So the share of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans in forbearance decreased 8 basis points to 2.24%, while Ginnie Mae loans in forbearance decreased 21 basis points to 5.61%. So this is a quote from Mike Frentitoni. He's MBA's senior vice president and chief economist. He says the opening of the economy as the successful vaccination effort continues should lead to further reductions in forbearance share. However, many homeowners continue to struggle. Let's see. By stage, only 11.9% of total loans in forbearance are in the initial mortgage forbearance plan stage. So while 83% are now in some form of extension. Those forbearance extensions, more than half have been in forbearance more than 12 months. As for the remaining 5.1%, those borrowers are considered re-entries. All right, so that's a little bit of the nitty gritty. You can read more about this at Housing Wire. Logan Madashami, I hope I said his name right. He's the guy that joined us in the last couple of weeks. Awesome guy. Maybe he's in the room now. But he has a quote in this article too. He says, I think over time, there's going to have to be an exit for forbearance. Just like in time, by the end of September, unemployment benefits are going to go away. He's a lead analyst for Housing Wire. He continues, so we need to find some kind of closure, but we'll also doing it in a way that Americans who can stay in their homes, who want to stay in their homes, are going to be able to stay in their homes. And that's kind of what we've echoed too. As we've talked about this in the past, there's been a lot of the, what does Logan call them?
Forbearance pros, forbearance crash
bros. Crash bros. Yeah. So there's been a lot of people that think that forbearance is the way that the economy will crash, but we've repeated time and time again that the government wants people to do exactly the opposite. They're giving servicers every reason to do everything except to foreclose on these people that are currently in forbearance by, extending it or adding it to the back of their loan or refinancing. So there's lots of tools and levers that people can pull. But those who are in forbearance, they have to apply for this stuff. So you have to talk to your mortgage loan servicer and talk about the exit strategy. So please do so if you're listening to this and you are in forbearance. It's time. So
yeah, I called mine and they said, why do you need to go into forbearance? And they said, why? And I said, I don't want to pay. And they laughed at me and then hung up the phone. So
and then put you in forbearance.
And then they still put me in it, but they, I felt embarrassed. They laughed at me quite heartily. Yeah.
D Jones, do y'all do that?
Can you go? Right, by the way, we have an early check-in from Christina M. Smallhorn. YouTube sensation. I think we have to add. I think we have to add to the beginning.
Look, we are royalty. She says, "Hola, boys. You're in my last video. I quoted you." Look at that. We'll have to go. Everyone, go check out Christina M. Smallhorn's YouTube page and look for the Bearded Men of Real Estate. Make it the most viewed and commented video on her page so that she'll have us back.
Yeah, and I think we need to start calling her YouTube sensation, Christina M. Smallhorn.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she's got millions of views.
Yeah, and I would like to say thank you for showing it. Usually we got to mention, what is it?
Tiny homes.
Tiny houses. And then her ears burn and she shows up on the show. So
I know she actually has a call during part of our show. And so she, her presence is here, but it's also divided. So I really appreciate that she tunes into the show. But I really want her input at the end of the show when we talk about, Matt, did producer Matt? Yeah, look at that. YouTube Sensation's latest post. He just put it up there.
Boom.
So there you go. I'm going to display it. You guys can click it. Producer Matt is on point. So there you go. There's the video.
Today.
But I do want Christina to talk, because at the end of the show, we're going to be talking about these buyer's remorse and what's happening with a lot of millennial buyers. And one of the things that they said is that they should have bought a bigger house. And she knows the tiny home scene. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Maybe there's some carryover there. But before we do, Dan, why don't you go ahead and get to the next article for us?
All right, and we have these are 3 in a row. Yeah, 3 in a row, Ray. They're all about home construction. So stick through it. We're going to kind of rip through them, and then we'll either give opinions at the end of the 3 or after when we go old school and do a deep dive. But home construction sees biggest drop since the pandy hit, and here's why. So despite historic shortage of homes for sale, home builders are actually slowing production, handcuffed by skyrocketing commodity prices and shortage of land and skilled labor. Single-family housing starts dropped more than 13% in April compared with March. So that's over the course of 1 month. And that's from the U.S. Census. That's the sharpest decrease since last April, when obviously the pandy shut the economy down. This is a quote from Peter Bukvar, who I think we've quoted on the show before. And he blames someone specifically, not someone, but something. I have to blame the difficulty in procuring lumber and other products, along with labor issues for the miss, in addition to likely cancellations due to skyrocketing costs for single-family starts. Prices, new and existing homes, are at record levels, and the increases are accelerating at the fastest clip in over 15 years. Nearly half of all builders say that they are adding escalation clauses, which someone mentioned on the show, not just for new construction, but they mentioned it last week, just for construction projects. Like, hey, you get 2 weeks at this price. If we don't start, it may change. But they're adding escalation clauses to their sales prices because of rising material costs, according to a recent survey from NAHB. There's a quote, escalation clauses specify that if building materials increase by a certain percentage, for example, the customer would be responsible for paying the higher cost. Including such a clause allows all parties to be on notice that the contract costs could change if material prices change due to supply constraints outside of the builder's control. And that's from a recent NAHB post. The NAHB estimates that the increases in lumber alone has added $36,000 to the cost of building, not to the price of the home, but the cost of building the average single-family home. So, but there's an interesting we have coming up in a couple articles that still boggles my mind.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, we've talked about escalation clauses in the past, but normally it's been in the context of when a buyer is making an offer on the property, doing an escalation clause to beat a bidder, to be the top bidder.
I'll beat it by $1.
This is a different escalation clause. You know, it's, hey, we may have to raise prices if the prices of materials continue to increase. The cost of your build's going to go up, and we're not going to swallow that cost.
And that's we're going to rip through these next 2 articles, but you know, what do you think that's doing to buyers? Like, no, I want to buy new construction, but wait, it might be 14 grand more than I offered. Like, and I have to agree to that in a contract. That's kind of like signing a blank check, isn't it?
Yep. And one of the main reasons why the cost of these builds are such a big deal is because they are making up 26% of our new inventory. So it is a good time. Let's see, this next article says, it's a good time to work in a new home niche as new home construction becomes more attractive. Home shoppers since the pandemic. Should have said the pandy. So more than a quarter, 25.7% is the actual number there. And this article comes to us from magazine.realtor. So it's the Realtor magazine. Here's a quote from Taylor Marr, Redfin's lead economist. He says, building homes has become more attractive and profitable during the pandemic due to record low mortgage rates and red hot home buyer demand. At the same time, many home owners have opted to stay put and refinance or remodel their existing homes instead of selling them, allowing new construction homes to take up a larger portion of the market. So basically, he's saying that it's not the reason why there's 26% of the market going to new construction is not the influx of so much new construction, but it is the lack of existing homes hitting the market. So single-family homes starts did jump 41% in March compared to a year earlier. But again, that number is compared to when people were shutting down and locking down during the pandemic. So it doesn't really tell us that there was a jump in the number of homes that are actually going to be available. It just says there's more than last year. And we all know that's a weird number. So meanwhile, the number of existing homes for sale fell 28% in March compared to a year ago. Now that is interesting. Number of existing homes you would think last year would have been less. As people were starting to get locked down, they would take their home off the market. That's not what happened. There were some that took their home off the market, but we're still lower than that. So
Wow.
I was just numbering. I was just running some general numbers for our market, and we're 50% lower than where we were last year on the inventory. So it's a lot lower. And that's why the new construction is making up a bigger portion of the market. Every builder I talk to is super busy. They're looking for land, which is, did we talk about the land article?
No,
Oh,
I mean,
so there was one article that didn't make the cut. It was talking about the builders having trouble finding developed land that was ready to build on, and how that was kind of adding to some of the delay.
Yeah. And I have a buddy that we're going to get on the show eventually when we, calm down a little bit, but he does development he'll do anything. He'll develop a Starbucks if he, but he'll find the land, he'll do all that stuff. And
speaking of, we have a couple of those for sale. If anyone wants to buy a Starbucks, you let me know.
Didn't you sell a mini mall kind of in the last couple of years?
No.
Maybe that might have been my old partner. I forgot who it was. I thought it was you, no. Ray, that sold like a, or no, was it a town? Didn't you have a town for sale?
You could buy a town for what some of those.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I know for what something costs here.
We had a train station. We had a train station for sale.
Oh,
we've had awesome. Starbucks for sale. We've had there's been a lot. Anyway, let's go to the next article.
All right, more home builder. All right, so this one is where I kind of have lots of questions pop into my head for this one. But the home builder confidence is high. Okay, so why aren't you building homes? But cost of materials present major risks.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we got to do the dun, dun, dun. And eventually we'll have some sound effects, but we just don't anymore. We're still not in the future, Ray. Strong buyer demand.
Dan, I want to interrupt for one quick note. One of our longtime listeners and people that have engaged with us in the past is now on Clubhouse. And I would be sure that she's following you and you're following. Oh, you're not in Clubhouse anymore. I guess you turned off your thing. Melanie Hay is in the room.
Hey,
so maybe she'll come up and say hi to us, because I think we've actually had her on the show, haven't we?
Yeah.
Didn't we have her on the show a while back?
I'm still in here. Yeah. Oh, she's been on the show. Yeah. It just minimized for some. There she is, right there.
There she is. She's up there. All right. Wait, Melanie. Hey, Melanie, how are you?
I'm doing good, but I'm in a noisy area, so I don't know if this is the best time to try and do.
No, it's probably a terrible time, but I just want to say hi to you and let everyone know that they should follow you, because you're new to Clubhouse and you're one of our
awesome.
long-time listeners, and we love you.
Following.
Well, the love is mutual, especially the both of you guys. I mean, I think you're entirely too much fun.
We try to be. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll come back to you in a little bit. All right, Dan, sorry I interrupted. Back
That's
to the
okay. By the way, she's the most rare person. She's from Michigan, but has an Australian accent.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Maybe that's backwards. But anyway.
No, you're right. No, she's from Australia and is in Michigan with an Australian accent.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That's
developed an Australian accent in the mitten, right? But she's right here on the mitten, by the way.
Right, there you go. Back to you, Dan.
Totally side, yeah. But strong buyer demand is keeping home builders confident, but rising costs of construction materials are weighing on housing affordability. Builder sentiment in the single family housing market was unchanged at 83 in May. That blows my mind, Ray. So they're saying materials are too expensive. I can't find any land, any developed land to build on. Labor is too much. We can't find any good labor. Oh no, but we're still stoked. We've said it on the show 1,000 times, but anything above 50 is considered positive. I think it hit 90 something last year, or maybe a few months ago. So it's still close to all-time highs or record highs or whatever you want to call it. But why? I want to know why it's still so high if they're like, no, we're not building homes right now. The starts are down. What was it, 16%? It just kind of blows my mind. But the index had plummeted to 37 last May, and obviously we know why. It then rebounded dramatically in June and July of last year as consumers rushed out to buy suburban homes, seeking more space for working and schooling from home. Builders now say they continue to see a steady stream of buyers, due in large part to the extreme shortage of existing homes for sale, which we have an article later that's going to hit on that stat a little bit. And it does go back 2 years, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Continued low mortgage rates are helping some with affordability, but with prices rising fast, purchasing power is weakening. This is a quote from Chuck Fowler. He is National Association of Home Builders chairman. and a builder from Tampa, Florida. Shout out to Chuck. Thanks, buddy. I don't know. first time and first generation home buyers are particularly at risk for losing a purchase due to cost hikes associated with increasingly scarce material availability. Aggregate residential material costs are now up 12% year over year. That's a big jump. 2x4s or whatever we're joking are now $60 each, according to the NAHB, and those costs continue to rise. That is causing a critical problem, not just for builders, but for the overall market. And also, we have another article, but including that. So let's say you buy a home. Let me come back here so I can see myself. But you buy a home, new or resale home. Now there's also a shortage on appliances and furniture. So you can't furnish the home. You can't actually get something. And these are weeks and months out, like to get these things. So, think about you buy this new construction. You're like, cool, I did it. No escalation costs. I got it for a good price. I can't live in it. I don't have any stuff. So there's also a major shortage, which I think we've all experienced. Like I was trying to buy a mountain bike last year. It took me 3 months to get this thing because, just production. Even if it didn't halt, it was still just tough to get the demand was so high. And I'm assuming that's the case for a lot of industries, but it's just hard to get it shipped to you or get it to a local store to actually buy it. So, that's just, but I want to go back.
We had a similar issue. So we finished our remodel and then we ordered all of our furniture right as the pandy started to hit. We moved in and ordered all of our furniture right as the pandy started to happen. Right. And things were locking down. It took us 9 months to get couches, to get a couch. It took 9 months. We still there's a couple of rooms that still don't have the right bed frame because we want a very particular bed frame. We're not going to just order something. So there's still some mattresses on the floor a year later. So now hopefully we can go ahead and get those things in. Matthew Clinton said, I'd ordered a new patio door. It took 3 months to get here.
So you just had an open house, like literally no patio door for that long?
It was broken. Man. It was broken. It was odd note for those of you who are just joining us, and this is your first time watching. The producer, Matt, was a client of mine who bought the house I grew up in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I know exactly what the problem with that door was.
Ray created the problem.
Yeah, probably.
When I was a
little kid, Matt said, I was able to order a car online and get it here faster than the door. Yeah, that's true. All right. So David Frescos, he says, hey, bearded dudes. He brings up a good point. He says, has anyone else, and this is asking industry wide here. So if you're on Clubhouse or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, he asked, has anyone else seen the boom happening where builders are building to rent and not sell? I wonder why.
I mean, that might be because of the affordability, right?
Well, it's not happening here. I wonder if it's because of the appraisals. Maybe they're building these houses and the lumber and everything's so expensive that it might miss appraisal. So they're sticking someone in it to rent it out for a little bit, and then they'll put it back on the market when they're confident the appraisals have caught up with the sold prices.
Yeah, and they don't have to wait for inspections and all that stuff. They just move someone right in.
Short rentals right now is all the rage. I have several clients that are putting their house on the market, have nowhere to go. And we know that we're going to find something over time, but they need a short-term rental.
Yeah.
So maybe they're able to charge a little bit more for a short-term rental, David. I'm not sure what the rental agreements are, but that would be an interesting thing to look at, to call those builder reps to see if that's happening. Yeah. Michael Elizabeth said, we're just doing appraisal waivers on new construction. That's true, but it only works for a certain segment of the population that can make up that difference there.
Yes.
Melissa Mars says yes and no. It's been a thing by me for a while, especially the 55 plus rentals. D Jones says I've seen a pinch of flips sit here in New Jersey.
I like that. It's just a pinch.
Gene Kelly says agreed. So she's seeing that too. That's interesting. My guess is, David, that the builder thinks, okay, I'm going to build this home. I can make some money from it. But the amount I'm going to have to charge due to the materials cost is going to be above the current market value. So I'm going to rent it out to people looking for short-term rentals, have them pay a little bit more than normal, then put it back on the market when I'm sure that appraisal values will catch up. That's my guess.
Now they'd have to be really careful though if there is a market dip or a correction or whatever it is. I mean, again, we're not talking Susie Orman numbers here, but if there is a correction, they may lose a little bit of money, but I guess that's better than just having a home for sale, sit, especially new construction.
So I have we have somebody that came up in Clubhouse. So I assume they want to talk about this thing, and I may butcher your name, so I'm going to try it out. It's Yahira. Did I get that right?
Jahira Ray. Jahira. I'm just kidding.
Jahira. Okay. Well, I do what I can.
You did good.
It has
You did
a lot
good.
of ways to go.
I know it sounds like my first time, I think, in this specific room with this title, and I'm super like engrossed in this conversation. But it sounds like you're reading off a different platform. Are we supposed to send in comments or questions via a different form?
So
Or
thanks
am
for
I okay
joining
to
us.
talk here?
We are actually broadcasting live on 3 different platforms at the same time. So we're on Clubhouse, which you just joined, and now your audio is being transmitted on YouTube and Facebook. And because we're also broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook, people can comment live and we can display their comments and talk about them, or we can talk about their comments. But you're joining us live via audio, so we can have a direct conversation with you. So very cool.
Of course, Ray. You're always go big or go home, right? So here's what was interesting about what you're saying. I'm in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And there is a property management company that has a builder that builds for them, and then they rent everything. So they go into a community that's either established or up and coming that still has land, and they buy up a street. They do different elevations, but all the features inside the house are the same, and then they rent them. There's a huge rumble right now in our area because there's fear of that bringing property value down. They're in gated communities, non-gated communities, no communities. So I was so interested in this topic because it is definitely something that is happening, and happening fast, because this one company in our area, they kind of came in on the down low, kind of secretly, and then everyone realized what was happening, and it was too late to kind of stop it or do anything about it. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks for adding info about your market. And that's the type of stuff that we look for. We're trying to figure out exactly what's happening around
on our worldwide, world famous show
broadcast. And it really is worldwide. We have people listening in Israel. So Harold, hey, if you're listening,
Taiwan,
live, Massimo, who is listening now, Taiwan, they usually listen to the podcast because we are the number 16 news show in Taiwan, so I appreciate that. Awesome. D Jones, she's joined.
We're getting a lot of mileage out of that, by the way.
We are, man. As soon as I got the email that said we're number 16, I was like, all right, well, this is it. this is the ticket. DJ said, well, rentals needed right now because people have no place to go when they sell. Also, if foreclosures start, those people will need rentals. Oh, that's a good point too. That could very well be it. Maybe these builders are kind of ahead of the curve and just trying to look and see what's happening. All right, so let me get into the next article. This one is about lumber prices. So we've been hearing a lot of talk about lumber prices, and I think one of the things that may try to get this market to balance. Ooh, I'm just noticing the color of pink on my shirt does not match the color of pink in the background. So sorry to all of those who are OCD. All right, anyway. Let's talk about something more important. Sorry. I'm like a squirrel in my own coloring. It's terrible. All right. Lumber prices decline. What? Lumber prices decline for the 6th straight day. So this is how closely everyone is paying attention to lumber prices. 2 days ago, I saw the article that says lumber declines for the 5th straight day. And today it says lumber declines for the 6th straight day.
They're just writing an article every day. 7th straight, 8th straight day.
This is content gold. Lumber futures fell to $1,327 per 1,000 board feet on
per
Monday.
per 2x4.
So they're still up more than 85% year to date. So they're still going up. They're still going up for this year. Oh, that's funny. I was just having a builder call me as we were doing this broadcast, so I'll have to get back to you. Sorry if you're.
He wants to talk about his sentiments.
He may think the show is recorded. It's not recorded. It's live. I will call you back right after the show. All right, 85% year to date. It's 280% higher than last year still. So numbers rise. Yeah.
So let's just call it 3 times higher.
3 times higher. No, it was
That's
like
200%
300% higher. So yeah.
So it's down to that 16%. All right.
Yeah. I'm hearing a little bit of echo. I don't know where it's coming from. So anyway,
Matt's fault.
I think it's your echo from your computer. Anyway, typically when demand increases, suppliers will increase the number of mills available to process timber. But Chad Hesters, a forest product advisor and managing partner of the consulting firm Corn Ferry, told the Wall Street Journal that's not an option for many suppliers these days because of how long it takes to create a modern mill and the significant capital investment involved. Here's his quote that's posted in the Wall Street Journal. It says, trying to build capacity and make investments that have a lot of lead time at the top of the cycle is historically a good way to lose money. So in other words, they can't build the mills fast enough to get ahead of the demand curve. So they're not going to build the mills. They just have to charge more for it, which is literally the definition of inflation.
Yeah.
And I would note that in the article, this is really interesting. They talked about some people creating their own mills, like their own small mills.
Yeah, I follow a lot of, different YouTubers, but some of them are, I mentioned the mountain bike thing earlier, and they're building their own backyard trails. So what they've done is they've set up their own little mini mills.
Yeah.
They're building on their own land. So they're cutting down their own trees, and they're always, pretty good wood for different, this or that, whatever jump or berm or whatever they're building. They're milling their own wood.
So if I was a real estate agent today, which I happen to be, I would probably do a little Instagram story about how the lumber prices are declining, and get people to tune into this, because that's big news. If lumber starts to decline, then builders may be able to build a little faster or a little less expensively, at least, and hopefully it means more is available. The other thing I noted, and this was a different story, I don't know if we ever covered this story, but it talked about the people that grow the timber not getting advantage of the increase in price. And normally that's what happens. Like we bought this 40-acre segment of property, and it was all, we call it trash wood. It was pulp wood. It's the wood that like they cut up and create the OSB stuff. It's all like
press board and stuff.
Yeah, it's not the pure hardwoods, right?
Yeah.
And so years ago we had bought this piece of property. We cut it and pretty much clear cut it to replant better wood. And so we cut it, and then as we were cutting, the price of the pulpwood in the market went up. And so we wound up selling it for the amount that land cost, which is amazing. So it was like $0 out. And then we had to replant and all that kind of stuff, which we're about to cut again in a couple of years because all that stuff is now grown up. But that's usually what happens when the price of wood goes up on the market. It does usually benefit those who are growing the timber, but for whatever reason, that's not the case. And there's a lot of timber farmers that are kind of upset about this because they're growing the wood that is going to market and being sold at record prices, but they're not getting the advantage of the increased price of the raw material. So that's also an interesting thing happening, just to keep your eye on it. It may just be the bottleneck at the mill that's creating the increase in price. And it's not necessarily a bottleneck of the lack of supply. So it's not a supply issue. We have enough trees. We don't have enough mills to process the trees.
Yeah,
and that's apparently why the growers, which we have a timber farm, and that's why I kind of know, that's why the growers aren't taking advantage of these prices. So anyway, that's a side.
And if you see Patrick's comment there, his forestry friends, first of all, let's give him a shout out for having forestry friends. That's not a California thing at all.
Do y'all have forests? Yeah. Y'all got forests in like Northern California, right?
We
can't. I mean, she's got beautiful forests there.
Yeah. We for sure. I can drive 20 minutes and get to. You can
go see it, but you can't cut it.
No, we can't cut any down. You can't even touch them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's all.
You can't cut the underbrush that would prevent burning, but that's another story. All right, Patrick.
Yeah, you can't burn any of that stuff. You can't do any of that stuff. You just can look at it, and then when it starts burning, you're like, cool, it's burning again. Which by the way, there's 2 fires raging right now as we speak. So good times. Anyway.
Yeah, Ellis Home Inspections. Patrick Ellis says, yes, Ray, my forestry friends have not gotten a raise in the past year.
So Matthew, what that means is all these higher prices aren't being passed on.
Yeah, Matt says, I have some trees that someone could come cut down for free. Yeah, but you're not going to get the money.
No
problem.
You're going to get the same thing they've been offering for the last year and a half or so. You're not going to make it. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting point though that they're not building any more mills. I get that. That makes sense.
Michael Elizabeth Rodell are doing a huge remodel in their house, and she just commented, "Of course it's lower. I'm done buying 2x4s for my reno."
It's weird because they finished 7 days ago, and now the last 6 days they've been declining.
There you go. D Jones sees my shirt. She says, "Oh, hi, honey. Hi. If you're a Buttery Bros fan, you'll know where this shirt came from."
Are they like the Crash Bros?
No, they're better. They're CrossFit.
Oh, okay.
They're CrossFit because I CrossFit. And I have to tell you, because I CrossFit, so that's how you know I CrossFit.
You have to. I send Ray's good. I send him lots of funny CrossFit things every now and then, and it's always like, "Oh, did you know I CrossFit, dude? We were talking about bees. Why?"
What? David says maybe they know they can afford to take the forest to stop wildfires. Maybe now they can afford to take the forest. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Raking
no, because it's all protected. It's all like protected stuff in California. It's very
but raking it is not. I think he's taking a jab. But hey, did you see his comment before? He knows a raw lumber rep.
Yeah, we should talk to a raw lumber rep. The last conversation I had with a Lowe's rep, it was a conversation through someone else, and they said the Lowe's guy said that they didn't expect timber prices to decrease that much for another 10 years. So I don't know. Let's see.
Wait, the Lowe's guy CrossFits too? Wait, who CrossFits?
No, I am the only one.
He's the only.
All right. Let's talk about, so the other thing that we're looking at is these mortgage rates, because as the economy improves and there are we start to approach full employment and there's demand for products, everyone wants to buy these products, and the products start to increase in price. That's the definition of inflation, and the Fed has to increase the rates, right, Dan?
Yeah, sorry, there's a comment. They have to. They do have to do that eventually, but there's a comment if you want to read that.
Okay, D Jones says, off topic, Dan is killing me with a Kill Bill Pai Mei beard grab.
Well, he does a whole like swishy kind of.
It says, Matt, make sure you zoom in each time he does it.
So I have a friend.
This is D Jones directing producer Matt. I love it.
Yeah, and I have a friend that counts my beard grabs. So whenever he watches the show, he'll message me after and he'll be like 84.
So why are you such in deep thought? Is it these interest rates? Is it the
it is. So
really,
here's an interesting thing, Ray. What have we been seeing? Oh, they're gonna have to go up. I think you were just saying that they have to go up. They have to go up. They're gonna go up. They're gonna go up into threes, mid threes, high threes, whatever. And now finally they keep going down. They're under 3%, Ray. In case you guys don't follow them like we here on the show follow them, they're at under 3%, 2.96 is where they were last week. And here's the headline. You ready?
Yeah.
Mortgage rate declines won't last. So I'm going to read this in two different ways. You ready? So the average for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage remained below 3% this week, but economists warn that rates in the 2% range likely won't stick around much longer, Ray. Still, mortgage rates will continue to be historically low, and slight increases aren't likely to spook home buyers, said the experts. And currently, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage average is 2.9%, which is down from 2.96% last week. And and that's from Freddie Mac. So that sucks. It's horrible.
It's underwhelming.
It's horrible that they're going down, right? It sucks. Now I'm going to read it the other way. Ready? So the average for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage remained below 3% this week. The economists warned that the rates in the 2% range likely won't stick around much longer. Still, mortgage rates will continue to be historically low. How rad is that? Like more than
way better. Way better news. Thanks for giving us good news, Dan.
Yeah. Still, mortgage rates will continue to be historically low, and slight increases. It's not likely to spook home buyers, so they'll still stay in the market. The 30-year fixed rate went down this week to 2.9% from 2.96% that last week. That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all good news.
But if you read that headline, the mortgage rates will decline. It won't last. It just Eeyore. It won't last. Now here's a quote, and I think we've quoted her on the show before. I think she was if you remember, I think she was the one, Nadia Evangelou. She's a senior economist and director of forecasting for the National Association of Realtors. I think she was the one that said for the next 3 years, they're going to stay around 3 or mid threes. I think that was her prediction. So she says, although mortgage rates may rise in the coming months, home buying activity won't likely be affected. And she goes on to say, keep in mind that rates are hovering at record lows and they will remain historically low for a longer period. And then Lawrence Yoon, he just essentially agrees in the article. But here's where it gets interesting. So the median sales price for an existing single family home rose to $319,000 in the first quarter of this year, registering an annual increase of 16.2%. That's a big increase year over year. So now I don't know, Matt, he said maybe he'll show the article, but if you can show that chart, I want people there it is right there. So
there it is.
Now let's see here. I'm going to bring up the article real quick. Give me 1 second.
You have to describe this article for the audio listeners on Clubhouse. You have to describe this graph. Give it a whirl.
So there's a graph with some lines on it, and they're kind of bumpy looking. There's highs and lows, and they're ups and downs.
Trending downward, right?
Yeah, trending downward. Mm-hmm. There's it goes back to May, but it's this is the average mortgage rates. For
the year,
so
right?
A 15-year is 2.26. Holy crap.
A 15-year, a 15-year, 2.26%.
Whoa! I did not read. I just kind of skimmed it. I skipped the only thing
below the 5-1 arm, which might be. I mean, it looks like that's the trend. But what's happening to the 30?
30 years on the way down too. So it went up in February. That's when we were saying, okay, everything's going to keep going up. It's bad. People are going to stop buying homes. But then it's been trending down for the last 3 months, right? And then they tiny up spike, and then they're above 3. Now they're back down below 3. So, Matt, I know this is on the fly, but can you bring up the next one, the next chart, the active listings and all that stuff?
He's looking at it so fast while he produces. He's like, what is he talking about? Where is it on the article? I could see him scrolling in the background. Yeah. You can scroll live. That's fine.
There you go.
Is that it?
Yeah. So this one is so interesting to me. So again, for the audio listeners,
for the audio listeners, we have a spreadsheet in front of us that talks about active listings and the share of homes available for sale for a household earning $100,000.
Yes. So I'm going to go back. So the interesting thing to me, we always talk on the show, okay, last year was an anomaly. Let's go back 2 years. This chart, and if you want this, by the way, where's this article from? This is realtor.magazine. It goes back 2 years. So in April of 2019, so if you're not watching, you're hearing us, there were active listings. There were 1,234,000 active listings. And that represented share of homes available for sale that a household earning 100K could afford was 60%. Share of households earning 100K was 70%. And then available homes for sale for a household earning 100% was 736,000 homes. Okay.
So 736,000 homes were available for a household earning 100K.
Right.
And there were 1.2 million
total active listings. So I guess that would say
today. Let's skip 2020 because we know that was weird. So fast forward.
Well, it went down a little bit, but now let's fast forward today.
Right.
April of 2021, active listings have dipped to 491,000.
That's almost a third.
That's insane. And then the rest of the stats kind of stayed the same. The share of homes available, it's a wash at 59%, and then 67% that could afford it. And then available homes for sale for a household earning 100K has also dipped from 736,000 to 288,000. And builders are saying, we don't want to build homes.
Yeah.
So incredible. To tie these all together, Lawrence Yoon talks about it when we have Logan on here. He's talking about the shortage. So here's my big question. When are, I love the grants. I love the help with the down payments. I love all that stuff. When are we going to give incentives to sellers? When is that going to happen? Because now it's like, well, you're going to be taxed on, they're trying to get rid of the home price gains tax and all this stuff. When are we going to give them the benefit? Yeah, look at
shout out to Matt, producer Matt, for the live teleprompter drawing an arrow to April 2020 in the OMG. I see you typing that up. Very good.
Yeah, can we do the scared faces too? Like,
so I think this leads us right into the next article. because it makes sense. Now he's drawing an O face.
We're now
O face drawing on the graph.
We're now giving him leeway to start drawing on articles during the show. I don't know.
It's terrible. Okay. Melissa Marr said, how about an exit tax? Jersey. How about that rain tax? You getting rain today? All right. So let me go to that was mean. Sorry. Let's go to the CNBC article.
D. Jones says Matt is not an artist. He's also drawing on a screen with his finger, probably. So we can't judge him too much.
Or a mouse, even worse.
Yeah.
So this is a dumb headline to me. Home buyers are applying for ever bigger mortgages as home prices soar. Okay. Like this is the reason why I'm covering this is to show you what non-news this is. Home prices are going up, right?
Yeah.
Right. So people are having to apply for a mortgage to afford the higher priced home prices, right?
Yeah.
Right. So home prices are getting bigger and mortgages are getting bigger to cover them.
Yeah. Seems fairly on par.
Next. That's literally the article. A decline in purchase applications was seen. We know this. It was down 4%, but that was, you know who said that, Dan? Joel Kahn. There continues to be a strong demand for buying a home, but persistent supply shortages are constraining purchase activity, and building material shortages and higher costs are making it more difficult to increase supply. So home prices are going up, so mortgages also have to go up. That's basically what this whole article says.
Okay. I want to.
This leads us to our deep dive.
But I want to present the other side. In a time where gotcha headlines are a thing, this is just an article saying, I know it's pointing out the obvious, but it's an article just saying a thing. And it's like, here's an article.
It's content.
I mean, it's not as awesome as tomorrow when we get lumber prices went down for the seventh
straight day.
Yeah. But
that's
hey,
what we hope.
Yeah.
But now that we've covered it, there's all these lumber speculators are going to go buy in the futures because they're down a little bit. And suddenly, bam, it's back up. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Oops.
We're not SEC Securities Exchange people. Don't take our investment advice. Just take our real estate advice.
Yep.
All right. So deep dive. We're in the deep dive section. We don't even blue because it goes right in hand with what we're talking about. And this is what I want people around the country who are listening to us on Clubhouse and watching us live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much. One of the things that we believe makes our show different is you guys sharing the show and then chiming in and giving us your 2 cents. So here it is. 64% of millennials have regrets about buying their current home.
Do you want to know why, Ray?
Why?
Because Grandpa came by and said, "This is what you got for $400,000. I bought my house for $80,000 back in '71."
There's some truth to that. So one of the things I do.
Why wasn't I at the inspection? I should be at the inspection. All these things you got to. Sorry. I'm digressing.
Let's not hire a pro inspector. Let's let Dad do it. Waive our right to inspection, and we'll let Dad do it. All right. So this is one of the things I do with all my clients, just so you guys know. Whenever I have a millennial making a home buying decision, if they involve the parents, I force the parents to come with me. Just so you guys know, because it's not fair for them to see the favorite house and then to say, "Oh, this is the one you're getting," when they missed all the other slums that my clients did not put an offer on. So just a pro tip, make them come to all the showings. All right. So 64% of millennials have regrets about buying their current home. Here's why. This is a CNBC article that references a poll of more than 1,400 U.S. homeowners from Bankrate. And then they kind of break down this poll. All right, so this is what I don't understand. The poll is 1,400 homeowners, but the survey graph, producer Matt, if you'll show that graph that's green and gray, it says a survey of 2,653 U.S. adults. So I guess there's I don't know why the difference in that number is, but I got to report it. Homeowners' most common regrets about purchasing their current home. 57% of all homeowners say they have no regrets. But 36%, only 36% of millennials say they have no regrets. And if you wonder why I say that, it's from a movie. So maintenance and other costs are too high. 21% of millennials, that's the reason why they regret a home buying decision.
Okay, so they realized that the landlord or the actual homeowner would do the repairs before, and they're like, wait, I got to do this now?
Yeah.
Aha.
Which is really funny because a local newscaster was posting about this, and they were like, they said buy a house, it'd be fun, they said, you know, that kind of stuff. And she was like totaling the stuff that's happened, you know, the AC going out. I don't know if it was AC, but just as an example, the AC going out, the roof happening, all that. And I sent her this graphic. I was like, hey, look, you're not alone in this. But very interesting. Maintenance and other costs are too high. That's the highest percentage. So if you're a real estate agent out there and want to create some video content, this may be like good information for you to start sharing with people. And I'd love to hear some opinions too. If you want to comment on this and you're already on stage, just flash your mic. If you want to comment on this live and you're on Clubhouse, raise your hand, and then we'll of course display your comments from Facebook. And
so a great video idea might be, you know, not necessarily addressing this specifically, but just, hey, costs involved with owning a home, and then throw that out to the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
Yeah. Stuff. How much is the average cost of maintaining your lawn? Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can mow it yourself for free, can you? No, because then you have the fuel, you have the maintenance of the mower. You got to
buy the mower
unless you have one of those. Unless you have one of those that's just the turning blades, you know, that's
if you want to do it yourself and get a good workout, then you do. Oh man, I love those things.
When I was in Thailand, there were people cutting grass for corporations, and they were down there with scissors cutting the grass,
like to get it all level. Like,
yeah, they got paid per hour.
Ooh, that's a good job. I'm in.
Yeah, cut it with scissors. So maintenance costs are too high. Another thing they said is they bought too small of a house. Christina M. Smallhorn, are you with us? Because these folks are saying that they're buying too small of a house, and we know the tiny home movement was all the rage.
Yeah, you bought a 400 square foot house, goofball.
Right. If you buy a 400 square foot house, then what exactly is going to be happening? I think people are going to move in and say, all right, we've moved in, but where are we going to put all of our stuff? Nico, he was in our clubhouse. He may still be there. He says the cost of gas, cost of beer to mow the lawn. Yep, that's true. Matt Clanton said, pro tip, don't just change your mower's oil and siphon gas from your neighbor's car. Yeah. Stephanie Morgan said, keep an eye on main components when shopping for those buyers that won't have access to make large repairs. Yeah, so she's talking about like keeping an eye on the HVAC, on the roof, on some of those main things. Yeah, the make sure those things are in place for your buyers. That's a great suggestion. So
do not waive your home inspection. Do not.
But that's the only way that they could get the house in some markets. All right, so bought too small of a house. So I know there's some ways to do space saving. I know there's some ways to maybe reconfigure your cabinets. One of the things I see a lot is that people that feel like they're out of space, they look above the cabinets and there's this gap. I don't know if this exists in California. Yeah. There's this gap between the cabinets and the ceiling.
Yeah.
You could put stackers in, right? You could put these small cabinets above that space, and then suddenly you have a lot more cabinet space by going all the way to the ceiling, which is also kind of part of the trend right now. So don't be afraid to do that. I think that could add some storage space as well. Nico, what market are you in, Nico? He says, not true. He's seen several offers accepted under asking. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
It's not a thing.
And his clients didn't waive anything. So there you go.
You've got his hand up, by the way.
He says he sent a video with the offer. You could send a video with the offer, but it's dangerous for your clients to send a video with the offer, given the.
Oh yeah, remember he's North Jersey and he says water just fine, not like Melissa.
Yeah, he says his market's stupid. All right, we do have a hand raised. Let me get here. Let's see, Nico. There he is. Uh-oh. I tried to bring you up, Nico. I'm not sure if you're going to be up on there, so we'll see there. All right, if you want to add your two. Oh, there he is. Let me bring up Clubhouse. Hey, Nico, what's up, man? Tell me about your market. What's happening? How are you getting offers accepted under market value there? I don't hear you. Nico. I don't know why. Do you hear him? Is it me?
Nope, I don't hear him either.
I don't know what's going on. Nico, try to say something. Oh, he's talking. I can see him talking. I don't hear anything from him. You may have to rejoin the room. Matt Clanton, who is a producer in the house. Why don't you say something? See if it's a Clubhouse issue or if it's. It is a Clubhouse issue. I'm not hearing any audio from our Clubhouse people. Weird.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. Let me see.
Watch a real estate news program produced live.
Yeah, I don't know what's. Let me mute and unmute. It should be working, so there's no reason why it shouldn't be working. Sorry, Nico, I can't hear you.
Here, want me to test it real quick? Talk.
You could try.
Yeah, because it's not. I have my mic unmuted and it's not feeding back.
All right.
Test
again. Nope. Man, it's messed up. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening. So we don't have any Clubhouse. Melissa Marr says, we hear nothing either. I know. So I don't know why I didn't change any settings.
We're live show.
So at least we got your comment on there. D Jones says, Nico, can I come to your market? Yeah. I'm going to try to add it one more time. Matt, say something one more time. No. See, it's not working. It's not playing to us. I guess you guys in Clubhouse can hear it, but outside of Clubhouse, we can't hear it. So hopefully you can hear us anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. And by the way, so we have 3 listeners now, or I mean, maybe more, maybe those lurkers out the way. By the way, if you are lurking, you got to comment either on the YouTube or the Facebook, or join us on Clubhouse. And the only lurker that's allowed is my father, Norm Ludwig. He's the only one allowed.
Well, let me get to some of these other reasons too, because I want to hear some feedback. Even if you have to type it in via text, you can find us on YouTube, by the way, and send us your comments. Bad location. That's interesting.
Oh,
15% of millennials surveyed said that they regret their home purchase due to bad location. Only 8% of all other home buyers.
So I would be curious to know what constitutes a bad location. Like, I cannot tell you, we as real estate agents cannot tell you, hey, this has a high crime area or the schools aren't good. We can't. But what we can say is, hey, go do this research. Here's a couple websites. If you want to know what these schools are like, go to this website here, and you can do your own research and make your own decision. But please make sure, and I say this to every buyer, please make sure this is part of your decision-making process, because the research we do on the home when we're in escrow is going to be more inspection based. Is it actually this big? We'll have it taped, were these permits done and stuff like that. So when we're looking in the area, before we even get to these homes or start looking in that area, do your research on the area, the schools, and so on. And the big thing in California is walkability. Can I get to here? Can I walk to the store and so on?
So another one says they didn't get the best mortgage rate, which that's interesting. I wonder if it's the millennials with not great credit that maybe have to pay. They can't get the discount points that they used to get the seller to pay their discount points. So now they're not getting the rate they could. But these days the rates are great.
Think if you even had to buy a full point, you're still at 4%. I mean, right now you'd be at 3.94%. I mean, come on. That sounds very millennial right there, by the way.
And Matt has the magazine.realtor article pulled up that kind of broke this news. I guess it was the National Association of Realtors that kind of posted this first. But they said, I bought too small of a house. That's 14% of age 25 to 40. So house is too small.
Okay. So here's
where's the one that's too big? Hang on. I was looking for that. Let me go back to the other. It's bought too big of a house, 14%. So bought too small of a house, 14%. I bought too big of a house, 14%. Both of them. That's funny.
It's just funny. But if you go back to I don't know if he wants to bring it up again, but the difference in percentages based on too much maintenance or too high cost maintenance, it's literally the highest amongst the youngest kids, and it goes down all the way through the boomers, and boomers are like 10% or 12%. They're like, dude, I'll just fix it myself. It's interesting to see we're getting less handy as the generations go on.
A lot less handy. D Jones says, I was referred to a military client who bought last year. He hates his neighbor and is going to find a rental until she can use her benefits. There you go.
That's a tough one. You can't. I guess you could ask around, but you can't really research the neighbors. That's a tough one.
Oh, interesting. Mario Flores says, I was reading an article that said 60% of millennials don't bother to shop for rates. Yeah. They just take the first one they're offered. Yeah. Well, maybe that's why they feel regretful when they're like, wait, what rate did you pay?
Yeah. They're like 5% seems fine. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Mortgage payment is too high, 13%.
And they're the same ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy to me because you're told, any good lender's telling you up front and they're breaking down all the costs. Here's what's associated with getting a mortgage. And here's what your payment's going to be if you buy this a home at this price. That's crazy.
It looks fine, but then when they start to feel that monthly payment and they can't go out with their friends and they are putting a little more toward, because this next stat 13% they overpaid or paid too much for the house. Yeah. And then the final number says 9% believes it's not a good investment. Which I would encourage those 9% to sell right now and find out that, hey, that's pretty great. I mean, it's going up faster than Dogecoin. So
wait. Did you read the new stat that Matt added?
No. What was that one?
You see at the very bottom there, the fine
I do
print.
not regret anything about my home purchase.
Nope, one more. Go down one more.
Other 5%.
No, you're not. Look at the actual screen. Look at the actual show, and you'll see it. Not the actual article, the actual show.
Oh, wait, where is there a comment?
No, he added it on the actual chart himself, and he didn't. There you go.
Too far away from Starbucks.
100%
of millennial homeowners say 25 to 40. Yeah, I see it now.
Sorry, part of my purchase was that it's walkable to a Starbucks, so I combined a few different.
That's funny. Okay, so let's talk about what to do, practically speaking, to help people through these decisions. So one of the things I do that I've added to my buyer's presentation is to talk about being house poor and how your lender says that you can pay $550,000 for a home. What does that look like on the monthly budget, and how much would you have to change your monthly budget to alter that? Now, I don't get into the nitty-gritty about their own personal finances, but I do recommend against being house poor, that if they want to keep their current standard of living, then whatever their payment is now currently, they want to stick close to that as possible so that they don't change their current standard of living. Now, it is a better investment than what they're currently paying on rent. But if they could stay close to that, then they're not going to have as many surprises, and they'll be hopefully able to take care of some maintenance issues that may come up. So that's one of the things we talk about, not being house poor.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to go back to your first point, because I do buyer's consultations as well. However you have to do them, on the phone, via Zoom, in person. Now we can do them in person kind of again. You need to be doing buyer's consultations, and mine take an hour and a half, depending on the questions they have, because everyone always kind of puts so much focus into listing appointments, and it's going to be this and it's going to be that. Well, buyers, you don't want this remorse to happen. You want them to use you again. You want them to refer you to other people whomst will be buying. So I always say it this way, that I love to empower my clients with knowledge up front. So we're going to go over, this is the script I use. So we're going to go over every single piece of the purchase, and I'm going to try to give you, make you feel confident that you're making the right decision and that there's not going to be any surprises along the way. Because once we do hit, we get that offer accepted, that 30 days goes very quickly. And nowadays our contingencies are shortened. They're going to go even quicker. So I need you ready. Does that sound good? And they go, So you got to be doing buyer's consults up front and add all of this stuff to it.
D. Jones says my consult is 2 hours. You'll never say I didn't tell you. Yeah. And a lot of the reason why I have stuff in my consultation is because I journaled the process for like 2.5 years and what I could have said and what I could have done. So I think this is a good exercise to do. Like, how can we handle some of the issues about people buying a house that's too small or buying a house that's too big? And it's maybe an understanding of the use of their house. So one of the questions I ask people is, how many rooms with beds in them do you want? Because a lot of folks are like, I need a 5-bedroom home because one of those rooms is going to be an office. One of those rooms is going to be a library or whatever they want to do with those rooms, right?
Yeah, everyone has libraries nowadays.
So, yeah, it's a big deal. I love the library. So, so instead of saying how many bedrooms do you want, I say, how many rooms are you going to have with beds in them? And they'll say, well, we only need 3 rooms with beds in them.
What about guests and so on?
How many other rooms do you need? And they're like, well, we need an office, we need a bonus space, we need this. Yeah. And so it opens up possibilities that maybe previously didn't exist. If you just put a 5-bedroom home into your MLS search, then you're not going to find exactly what they're looking for, because they're actually not looking for a 5-bedroom home. They're looking for a 3-bedroom home plus an office and a bonus space.
Right.
So being able to search based on how your clients want to live will help them to locate a property that's more the right size for them and not too big or too small.
Yeah. And I ask questions, how many people are going to be living in the home? I do get a little personal. Do you guys plan on having children? Is that in the future? Not to whatever your decisions are, but I need to know, because I do have clients now that are looking and they don't ever, it's just them and their puppy dog. And they may get another dog in the future, but so it's more outdoor space than indoor space, so you need to ask these questions. I ask silly questions like, do you want a hot tub? Do you want a pool? Are they must-haves, or would it be nice if you had them? And then I also have, do you have any collections? Do you need a room for your collections? I have a lot of people that are collectors on the nerdier side, so they need a room or a space for that collection. Do you want a man room? Do you have to get away from your wife every now and then?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, say that right in front of her. Do you need a she shed? So
does he annoy you? Do you need your own space?
You need your own space.
Yeah.
So the other things on there are about the maintenance cost. So how do you address maintenance costs for a brand new homeowner or a new home buyer? They're thinking about buying a home. How do you address that in the consult? The increasing cost that they're maybe not experiencing because they're currently a renter.
How do you address that?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
I just let them know that, hey, these things are going to be on you. There's no one that's going to fix the leaky sink anymore. Or, so I ask them kind of, are you handy kind of thing? And I kind of ask them for two reasons, because these are going to be things that pop up and they're not all going to be covered by home warranty or homeowner's insurance. So how handy are you in terms of you're going to have to handle these things, or what is the condition you want the home in? Now, if it's an 8, 9, or 10, it's going to probably be a pricier home, as depending on what market we're looking in. But if you're okay with a 6 or 7, then we can probably get you something that's a little more affordable, but you're going to have to do windows and probably the roof within 5 years. And the HVAC's probably going to be original from 30 years ago, So
is it the same in your market where if you buy one that is a slightly worse condition, you can get a larger home?
Yeah, it's all a sliding scale. So, and I do it based on I do a 1 through 10, and I have the conversation. A 5 is there's a structure there, but most of the parts are there, but the kitchen is completely missing. So if you want to do that, then we can go with a 5, but it's not likely. Then a 6, I always use this one where I say a 6 is grandma lived in it forever. And she smoked in that house every single day. The carpet used to be red. Now it's pink, except for under the credenza, because grandma called it a credenza. You move it and you see it's still red. Yeah. The walls are really jacked up. Like, you're going to have to do some work either before you move in or as you live there to make it really, truly livable. And then a 7, it's a really nice home. It just hasn't been updated in 35 years. And then 8, 9, and 10. That's kind of the scale I give them. And then let them know, hey, there's costs involved with these things. So again, how handy are you, or just how much work do you want to do?
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I'm looking for some comments on there. D Jones says not smoked. LOL. All right. I'm going to try this one more time. I want to see if we can test Clubhouse. I'm going to unplug. Hang on. Bear with me, guys. Unplug. All right. Hopefully they can hear me. And now I'm going to plug back in. All right, Matt, let's test this out. Can you say something? No. Sad day. Our Clubhouse audio isn't working. Nothing changed in our setup from the start of the show to the end of the show. So now that we are towards the end of the show, I'm going to do one more thing. Dan and Matt, y'all stay in Clubhouse. I'm going to exit, and then I'll be right back. Hang on. How can I exit? Oh, I can't exit. It just says I have to end the room now. So I can't.
Yeah, you'd have to end it.
Oh, wait. No, I can leave quietly. Hang on. Let's see what happens. Guys, if this ends the room, mass apologies. Hang on just a second. Let's try to get this working here. Let me
and I'm watching it right now. Ray's still here. Ray's gone. Room is still active.
God.
Finally, we can talk without Ray. Oh, wait, he can still hear me.
All right,
now he's back in. Yeah.
All right, let's test it. Matt, will you say something? Fail. So I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's a cord problem. I don't think it's an issue with StreamYard. So I'm not sure exactly what the issue is. Mike Elizabeth Rodell. Actually, that's just Elizabeth.
That's just Elizabeth. We don't have to call them both because it's not Facebook.
All right, there you go. I disconnected. Oh, so now.
I hear Matt and I hear Ray all along the house. That's the only one I'm on. And I hear all you guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the problem is. Right now, I'm holding up my phone to the microphone so that everyone on the internet can hear you.
Oh.
She just said, "Oh."
I apologize for the sound of my voice.
Be interesting, Elizabeth.
Be interesting. Yeah.
This translation over the microphone versus in person. So no, but I hear all of you just fine. So I don't know what you're like.
Yeah.
Even when you were unplugged or plugging in, except for when you left Clubhouse, I could hear you just fine.
That's weird. Okay, I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys. Hopefully, I can hear Matt clicking his keyboard like crazy. I don't know what you're typing. So I don't know what's going on. Sorry about the Clubhouse thing. So
he's
Nico,
typing furiously trying to figure this out.
I did want to hear your opinion, Nico, about the buyer's remorse situation. I think you were flashing your mic or had something to say about that. Did you?
No, actually, I was just talking to you about the offers.
Yeah. How he gets them accepted. I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
right. How you get them accepted and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, sorry guys on the Clubhouse. Everyone else, thanks for joining the show. We do have one more little article to mention, and then I got to run. I got to go show a house. But
yeah, I got an appointment. But here, I think I already.
Do you want to mention it? It's really interesting. It's the 5th week that they've been in the news, and the only reason why we're covering this is because they've been in the news. Mario Flores says, great show, Ray and Dan. Can't make it next week because I got a wedding to attend. That's okay. You can definitely catch the replay. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell on the YouTube. But what's this?
That's not just for Mario. That's for everyone. But do you want to know?
I've got a bunch of friends that work at this brokerage that we're about to cover and talk about. So this is
and I deal with their with Compass a lot in LA and Los Angeles. It's not so much out here in the Inland Empire where I'm physically at, but a lot in LA, and they're always awesome to work with. Their systems and procedures are really clean. You know, they all use Calendly for their to book showings, and the PED is always right there. You can click it on your phone. It sends it to your clients, and then you don't ever have to download and save and then send it, email it to the agent. It emails it right to them. It's always, they're really technologically driven, so it's surprising to me that Compass has lost $212 million this year.
That's like iBuyer stats.
Yeah. So
now I know from owning and operating a brokerage that focuses on marketing and puts a lot towards the agents and getting them out there. I know what that cost. Right. And this whole time Compass was kind of talking about what they were doing and everything. I'm like, man, that costs so incredibly much. How can they be profitable?
So the only logical solution is to start an escrow and mortgage company and title as well. Right.
So they're getting into mortgage now.
Yeah. It's actually kind of, the article mentions that they're getting into all of it. Title and well, because a lot of brokerages do that. They either
wait. That's not your title. That's the title of the article on Housing Wire.
Yeah, Compass.
Oh wait, no. That is wow. You can't edit it like that, Matt, because I was like, wait, what's happening? Matt had changed the title of the article to reflect yours. Okay, I get it now. He just says the actual article says Compass loses money, explores mortgage. And Matt changed it to said, and it looked real. It said explores how to lose more. I get it. Okay.
But he even found the right font, so it was very good. You got to be careful, listen. We're very fake news oriented. That's why we're getting more views nowadays. But I do find it, and a lot of brokers do that. They either partner with a lender that's the in-house lender, or they start their own. A lot of Keller Williams do it. Like literally right next door is their mortgage company, and then the actual brokerage with the 200, 300, 400 agents is in there, and they make money off of that brokerage. So I get what they're doing, but Compass has successfully become a publicly traded company, but the residential brokerage continues to lose money, and it has unclear plans to generate more revenue. I mean,
I don't get. I know they're backed by a lot of venture capital, and a lot of the venture capital companies we see to lose a lot of money, and I just don't understand how that adds up to making money.
Yeah,
it's a little above my pay grade, honestly. I mean, maybe there's something the analysts are seeing that I'm not.
You know what? This is a great question for Logan, because he always goes. He's a very obviously stats. He always says he has the most boring job in the world, but.
And
it would be great to hear him break this down.
I don't know if he's like all into the white papers of, how companies make money. I want someone like Jim Cramer, like a stocks analyst.
Nah, he would just come on here, yell, and push a button. bunch of buttons really hard. Yeah, Compass is up. Buy. And well,
it's informative though. It's informative.
But Compass reported a $1.1 billion in revenue for the first three. So that's just in revenue, right? That's what they brought in, right? So that would be the gross technically in the first 3 months of 2021. It's an impressive looking figure, an 80% leap from revenue in the first quarter of 2020 when they posted a $619 million in revenue. But that revenue is wrapped up in home sale commission splits and Compass to Compass real estate agents, Compass's real estate agents. Sorry, I can't talk today. Money that goes in and out the door. And once the expense of commission and other related expenses is subtracted, Compass generated $151 million in the first quarter of revenue. So
they did generate revenue.
They did. Well, yeah, but they made, oh my God, wait, they made over $1 billion, but spent over $1 billion. So
how do they do that?
I
see what it's saying. So after you pay all of the agents,
and so if you just take commissions earned, right, it's going to be,
so then the revenue,
their splits and stuff.
So then the revenue is only what was it, 151 million, and then they had expenses that were more than the 150 million by at least 212 million.
Yeah, and then it says unclear is whether Compass is generating revenue in addition to the about 15% of each agent's commission. So,
interesting.
Yeah, if you want to see this one, we're just bringing it up because it's interesting to me. Like I said,
the fifth time they've been in the news. The last 4 times were about little lawsuits and stuff like that, or some big. But then they have the earnings report in which they lost money, and we've been talking about the iBuyers and how they're losing money hand over fist, and yet raising a tremendous amount of capital through the sale of stocks and VC and all that. And
which
that's just something that, honestly, I would love to have someone else join the show that knows more about that, because I can't tell you why that's happening. And as a friendly competitor in the market, like I said, I got a bunch of friends that are Compass agents and a bunch of friends that are EXP. We even have some Redfin people that join the show occasionally. So as a friendly competitor in the marketplace, when you have a company that's their goal is not to make money, it's hard for me to fathom. How do I compete with that?
By the way, Ray is a very, very smart man, and he's dumbfounded by this. Like, I don't know.
I really don't. I mean,
because you're not VC backed, but
I'm not. We're 100% in the black. We've never taken a loan. So I'm just,
that would never happen, Matt. But so you can get to his comment. But producer Matt says, imagine if companies went into the red, the CEO's exec salaries were pulled to pay off the extra debt. That would never happen.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. They're making more. They made more than a year ago, which is awesome. But they also spent more and had more outgoing and have lost quite a bit more than a year ago.
Yeah.
So
interesting. All right.
It's interesting. And by the way, this isn't because I've been on their side in the other articles with the kind of weird lawsuits that are going against them and stuff. But I love working with them. They're all really, really communicative agents. Their systems seem to be really solid. I love their marketing. It's very clean, and the little line that kind of slowly falls over, then it says Compass. I'm a big marketing fan, and I think they have great marketing. So I don't get it. I also don't understand how you lose that much money, but
and are supposedly a good earning company. But this is a cry for help.
Yeah,
help us.
We've been asking this question for 3 years. With all these over the course of these, I guess they call themselves real estate companies, but they're really just tech companies. How do they make money? I guess they just kind of go in so investors buy. No, buy, and then those investors eventually move on. A lot of those
quoted it's the second time you've quoted NSYNC on the show.
Yeah, buy. It's May. Yep,
it's gonna be May.
But usually those companies they start just to get bought, and then they're like, cool, I made money, I'm out. So is that Compass's goal? I don't know. I would love someone way above our pay grade.
After the views and want to get, I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining the show. I want to display this comment because I think it's one of the most important by Nico, who says this is one of the best podcasts out there. Just saying. Thanks, Nico.
So
Thank
how
you
I
guys
read
for
it
joining
was, I read this is the best podcast out there.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Nico.
Nico.
Dan, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, man?
D Ludwig Rocks, DLUDWIGROCKS. Go give me a follow now on Clubhouse, same D Ludwig Rocks, and on Instagram, it's where I post most of my stuff. And if you're struggling right now, that's okay. But make sure you reach out to someone. If you're not struggling right now, make sure to reach out to someone and help them. People need help right now, so please reach out.
You can find me on the Instagrams at Ray Zorback. That's RAYZORBACK. Everywhere where good Razorbacks are sold. So thanks everyone for joining the show. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys.